Sit tight because maybe, just maybe, we will apologize to such an under-respected franchise. And we will also get to who wants to be the Lakers coach.
Do we have to get to that?
We do have to get to that.
As the resident Laker fan on this show, I got to tell you, I'm not too excited about talking about it.
Yeah, given the short list, it'll be a short segment. Don't worry about it.
I'm about to say, there's only one name on that list that I would be mildly intrigued by, but we got plenty of time for that.
It is all in front of us, a jam-packed Monday, so let's roll.
Here we go!
Only one place to start.
The rebounding edge, the shooting of Steph Curry. The Warriors come back, win by 9. Now they have that 3-0 series lead here in the Western Finals.
So we came out with a certain intensity level and focus level that, it would take to come on the road and still win.
That's why this is a championship franchise. You saw it last night. It is not taking a game 3 for granted, not putting themselves in a situation where you immediately let the Dallas Mavericks back in the series because they are at home. And we saw yesterday why the Golden State Warriors are right there with an opportunity to win their 4th championship in the 3rd different version of this franchise. And it's been fascinating to watch how this has played out, and the biggest role here has got to belong to what Andrew Wiggins has done throughout this, defensively against Luka Doncic, but just the overall impact that the former #1 overall pick has had on this series. Chris, I think he's the biggest reason why they are where they are today.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I don't want to leave out Kevon Looney, too, because he's been huge in this series. The two of them combined averaging 35 points, 17 rebounds, and 7 assists in this series. Those are numbers that the Dallas Mavericks didn't account for coming into this thing. So I think that's the part that nobody could foresee, and that's the biggest reason why you're talking about the Warriors having a commanding 3-0 lead. And, Carlin, in the history of the NBA playoffs, teams with the 3-0 lead in a series are 146-0. So this series is pretty much over.
Yeah.
We could talk about it. Is it over in 4? Is it a sweep? Is it over in 5? That's just fodder for us to have fun with. But ultimately, we're talking about Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson getting to the NBA Finals again. So we're talking about, their 6th Finals appearance?
Yep, and we're also talking about the fact that they have this opportunity to do this because of just how well-rounded they are. Look, I know that Luka still goes off for his points, but that doesn't matter. You gave the stat this morning to me that it's now 40 points that Luka has scored in 3 playoff games so far this year, and the Mavericks are 0-3 in those games. And
for his career, Carl, Luka Doncic has had 8 40-plus point career playoff games.
Yep.
And you're talking about the team being 2-6.
Yeah.
So more is not always better when it comes to Luka Doncic's scoring, and we saw that a little bit in the Phoenix Suns series. Him being intentional about getting his teammates involved and getting those guys in an offensive rhythm early is more important to their team's success than him getting buckets in the first half.
Well, this is Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. And look, when you even have the performance of Dinwiddie and Brunson backing him up, but the 3 players in Doncic, Dinwiddie, and Brunson combined for 86 of 100 of your points, and nobody else almost quite literally did anything. I mean, you had 2 guys that you rely on so incredibly much for outside shooting, and Maxi Kleber and Reggie Bullock.
Bullock was awful.
He was just absolutely awful. The 2 of them combined to go 0 for 12 from 3 last night. And look, when you're not getting it from anywhere else, even if you get it from your big 3, it's not going to be nearly enough to carry you against a team like the Warriors that can beat you in so many different ways.
But here's the thing I don't understand about the Dallas Mavs attack, Carlin, and you'll see it with Golden State. I mean, the biggest difference in this series to me in terms of the overall strategy from the 2 teams is that Golden State, albeit a prolific 3-point shooting team, they get a lot of easy looks at the rim, a lot of layups, a lot of dunks. In this series against the Mavs in the 3 games, they are plus 56 in paint scoring. Again, last night with a decided edge. I think they scored 48 paint points to the 34 paint points for the Dallas Mavericks. That's huge when it comes to being able to get yourself in a rhythm and then being able to get buckets in clutch time when you need them.
Listen, with about 5 minutes left in the game, it's still a 10-point game.
Yep.
And I'm sitting there still giving the Mavericks every opportunity to win this game. But the play that really drilled it down for me on that front is Steph Curry getting around a screen and taking it right down the lane for just a ridiculously easy, untouched finger roll. At that point, it's over. And this is a Mavericks team that was supposed to be so good defensively. I know the Warriors have all these options, and I know how great their ball movement has been. That can't happen with 5 minutes left.
No doubt about it. Steph Curry was masterful in terms of getting into the paint, but also his passing, because he gave Draymond Green a bunny at the rim, which was just fantastic in the last 5 minutes of the game. But to me, the dagger was Jordan Poole knocking down that three. Carlin, Jordan Poole has been a revelation for Golden State this year and in these playoffs. But to me, that opportunity, that wide open look, doesn't happen if you don't have guys like Steph and Clay getting into the painted area and being able to take advantage of those opportunities as well. Not to mention the hammer that Andrew Wiggins threw down on Luka Doncic. I mean, y'all want to see a dead body?
Oh.
Go look at that highlight.
Here's what I
love.
love.
Go look at that poster that Andrew Wiggins made last night.
Here's what was beautiful about that. Luka actually mid-jump said, oh, I shouldn't have done that, and he's trying to pull himself out of the picture.
It's almost like he forgot that he was a bad defender and tried to challenge at the rim.
Yeah.
Like that was going to end well for him.
It's like when you have somebody that realizes they've walked into a picture of a family picture.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, let me get out of that.
Yeah,
that was Luka.
I don't belong in this
on
position.
that poster.
Exactly.
I got to get out of this.
And then the refs had the audacity to call it an offensive foul.
Oh.
There was nothing about that was an offensive foul. Now, was it offensive? Absolutely. It was absolutely offensive. Chalk out line for number 77 for the Dallas Mavs on that play.
So will anybody match up with the Warriors? Brian Windhorst will join us in 12 minutes to answer that question. But I know that so many of you have been itching to get to us today to talk about the Miami Heat and what they did Saturday night. And look, we understand that we have sat here and told you that the Miami Heat are just not that great of a team. And the fact that they are even here, they should consider themselves incredibly fortunate because the Celtics are a much, much more talented team, and you're waiting for your apology. And I understand that. Chris understands that. So listen, have at it. You deserve it.
I've ridiculed everyone on the roster. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
That's right, absolutely nobody. Because look, I give them credit. They played a great game the other night. They put themselves in an awesome spot to win that game, to go up 2-1. Outstanding. I'm sorry. No, I'm not changing anything of what I have said about the Miami Heat. And what says it all to me, Chris? In this series, out of the 12 quarters that have been played, the Heat have won exactly 2 of them. And they have run them out of the gym in those 2 quarters.
Yep.
But congratulations, you've won 17% of the series so far.
Yeah, I hear you on that one. And
I know they all count, but still.
Here's what I'll say. I do have to change a part of my prediction because I said this was going to be a gentleman's sweep over in 5, and clearly that can't happen if I think the Boston Celtics are going to win. So we're talking about this being a long series.
You should have given the Heat more respect like I did.
Right, because that's what you did.
I said 6.
That's what you did with Miami. Here's where I'll go with this. If you're the Boston Celtics, you can't lose that game. You can't give back home court advantage right after you steal it in the very next game. The energy, the effort level is inexcusable. To be down, 26 points? That early in the game?
Yeah.
That can't happen, Carlin.
No.
That absolutely can't happen.
Inexcusable.
So as far as the mental focus and having yourself prepared to play with the requisite energy level, the effort level, in order to take a commanding lead in this series, I just think it's a huge missed opportunity. And to compound that problem, Carlin, you're talking about Miami playing the entire second half without Jimmy Butler, their best player.
Yep.
So if you've got that scenario, you have to find a way to win that game, because if we're talking about Boston being up 2-1 with Game 4 on their court tonight, this is a completely different situation the Miami Heat would find themselves in, and all of a sudden they've got a ton of pressure on them. And for guys that aren't overly talented, when you put them in high-pressure situations, you're probably not going to get the best results. So I felt like the Celtics had an opportunity to put their foot on the Heat's throat, and they absolutely spit the bit. So I'm looking at the Boston Celtics with a little bit of a side eye, And I'm certainly staring at Jason Tatum.
Oh,
with
you
that
should
side
be.
eye,
You should
because
be.
he was god-awful in that game.
He was terrible, and it had nothing to do with his shoulder. I mean, he got hurt in the game, obviously.
That was at the end of the game.
Exactly. Had nothing to
yeah.
do with that. He was, stuck on, 10 points for the majority of the evening.
3 or 14 shooting, Carlin.
Yeah,
how you going to get something done with that?
You can't. And making that next step as we have throughout this postseason with who he's beaten, sorry, can't have games like that. You have to be much more consistent. I'm not sitting here telling you that you got to go out and throw up 40 every night, but you can't have the stinker. You can't have that when you get it home. Again, the mentality that the Warriors had, not taking it for granted. Celtics have taken it a little bit for granted in some spots in this series.
No doubt about it. And, Carlin, the thing that bothers me about Jason Tatum is this is the guy that you're depending on in crunch time. Like, when the game is on the line, like, can he step up? We got to remember, in Game 3, the Celtics cut the Heat lead down to 1. Jaylen Brown hits a bomb from deep, and he cuts it to 1. And then you're talking about the next possession, Max Strus burying a three-pointer.
Yep.
And then coming back having a shot clock violation, and then a Jason Tatum turnover.
Inexcusable.
That pushes the lead back to 8. Those types of things can't happen. Jason Tatum's supposed to be the one that closes the show, not the reason why you can't take a lead toward the end of the game after everybody else that's on the court did their best to put you in that position. That's the part that's most disappointing.
So with all the injuries, who are we going to see tonight and who might we not see? It is all coming your way in just moments. Brian Windhorst is going to join us in just 6 minutes. This has been Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. It's Canty and Carlin in for Greeny, presented by Progressive Insurance. Bundle and protect today under one roof. Learn more at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE. So, do we owe you an apology, Heat fans? It's your chance. We called for you. A couple of you showed up the other day. We're calling for you again. Have at it. Go ahead and chirp. Nothing changes. I'm standing by everything that I have said so far. It is take integrity, and you will see no different from us. Your calls are coming as well at 888-729-3776, 888-SAY-ESPN. Canty and Carlin in for Greeny. Next, can anybody challenge the Warriors? We answer that with Brian Windhorst in moments on ESPN Radio and ESPN+.
Today on ESPN Daily, Nick Friedel explains the real meaning of Heat culture as someone named Max Strus is both its face and the current terror of the city of Boston right now. So follow us and listen wherever you get good podcasts.
This is Greeny.